So thanks for letting me interview you today.
Absolutely.
How's your morning so far?
It's good, dude. It's really good. Did some reading, did some working out, um, sizzling up some bacon for my kiddos.
Bacon's the best breakfast food, actually, though. It is the best breakfast food. Anyway, so let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get this started.
So what is your name and your profession?
My name is Edgar Olmos. My profession is now a baseball coach mentor.
No. When did you start playing baseball? What position did you play?
I started playing baseball recreationally at 4 years old. And I was kind of all over the place. And then, that looks better. And then I played professionally. And I started that when I was 18 years old. So I got drafted out of high school. So I've been playing baseball for a very long time. Very long time.
How did you get into professional baseball, and how many years did you play in the MLB?
So I played 11 years professionally, from 2008 to 2019. I played parts of Major League Baseball in 2013, 2014, and 2015. My Major League time was with Miami and Seattle. Miami Marlins. I first got drafted, by the way, by the Florida Marlins. So I was drafted by the Florida Marlins before we became Miami. That's how old I am.
What is your experience with a sports injury?
Okay, so my experience with sports injury. When I got drafted in 2008, I pitched my first game against the Dodgers. Did really well.
Nice.
Went an inning and 2/3, 5 strikeouts, and then the next day could not throw. So I went to the trainers and I said, "Hey guys, something's wrong with my shoulder." They took me to a doctor, and the doctor said that I had tendonitis. And then I rehabbed it. We rested it, and I went home. And then that off season, in the 2008 off season, I tried to throw again, could not throw. Told the Marlins, I said, "Hey guys, something's wrong with my shoulder again." So I went and saw a different doctor, and then he told me that I had a small tear in my labrum. So then I had surgery scheduled in 2009 in March. I had surgery with Dr. Yoakum in Los Angeles. He performed a labrum scope. So went in there, cleaned it up. It was a small tear. It wasn't big enough to need any anchors. So I rehabbed from March, and then I was ready. I was game ready in August. So August I pitched in the GCL, and then I pitched in the New York Penn League, and then I was good to go and cleared for mini camp for the Marlins, and then that was great. I came back stronger. I came back heavier. I worked out a lot. I was very conscious and had a really good group of guys with me, which was really important, I feel, looking back at it now, because I was so young and scared. Going through rehab was something that I've never done before. So having an older group with me, I had a lot of AA guys, AAA guys, big league guys that were in rehab at the time in Jupiter, Florida. And they kind of took me under their wing and really showed me the ways to take care of my body. And then I had surgery 10 years after. So I had surgery in 2009, and then I had surgery again in 2019, and then the one in 2019, that was a big surgery. I had a labrum repair. They told me that it was torn 65% off the bone, and they needed 4 anchors in order to keep the labrum down onto the bone. and my shoulder was never the same again.
Where were you mentally when you found out that you need to get that big surgery?
Where was I mentally?
Yeah.
Which one? The first one or the second one?
You can do both.
The first one, I'm not gonna lie, I was very scared. I cried. I called my agent. I called my dad, and I was in tears because I didn't know the severity of it. I didn't know if I was ever gonna pitch again.
Mm-hmm.
Because they say that labrum is a very touchy part of the shoulder. So the percentages isn't always favorable. So I was nervous. I was scared. I spoke to a pitching coach that I love till this day, and I still talk to him today. His name is Jeff Schwartz. He pitched in the big leagues with the White Sox. He was on the team with like Bo Jackson and all them. He was a very good mentor for me. So he saw me crying. He called me into his office, and we sat and talked, and he goes, "Hey man," he goes, "you have to understand something. This is part of the game. You know, this not everybody has to go through this, but you know, some do." He goes, "I did it. I went through Tommy John." And he goes, "It's the only thing that you can worry about now is your work ethic, what you do day in, day out, your daily routine. You know, you can't worry about the future. You have to worry about the present and now and what you can do now." And he said, "And you're young." He goes, "You're 19." I was 18 at the time. I was going to be 19. And he goes, "You're going to recover." He goes, "So just take care of your body. Pay attention to what you eat, what you drink, how much rest you get, you know, what times you're going to sleep, because your body is in recovery mode now, you know."
Mm-hmm.
So just make sure that you're taking care of yourself more than you're taking care of your shoulder.
What about the second one?
The second one was for me mentally easier, just because I kind of knew what to expect. I was older. I had more experience in the training room. I had more experience with how my body functions and what my body is supposed to kind of do. So I felt more prepared. But at the same time, having it torn 65% off the bone that's big, you know, and not a lot of people can come back from that. So I kind of knew I expected that there was a chance that I was not going to play baseball anymore. Like I you know, hearing the news, talking to the doctors, and then just telling me that, you know, that this is a big surgery. This is gonna be big. So I kind of knew it going into it, that there was a possibility that my career was over. So I kind of came into terms that way. It still bugs me. I get a little emotional thinking about it, because if it wasn't for a certain procedure, because I had the bicep tendinosis, which they moved my bicep tendon from where it connects to the shoulder, and they move it closer to the armpit. That I feel like if I wouldn't have done that, I may have healed a little bit better. So it's tough. It's tough when injury takes you away from something you love. So going into the second surgery, already kind of expecting that, and then once I started doing all my rehab and doing my exercises and trying to get my shoulder stronger, and then once I started to throw, something just wasn't right. And there was a lot of days where it was hard. It was hard to accept that, you know, I don't have the same shoulder anymore. I can't do what I love, which was pitch and compete at a high level. But you know, when one door closes, the other doors open. So, you know, the closing of that door led me to my new passion and my new joy, which is coaching and teaching the youth and, hanging out with you guys and making sure that you guys fully understand what's to come. Sorry, my birds are loud. Hey, I'm talking. Hush, 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 hush. Sorry.
Just a clarifying question. Where is the labrum again?
The labrum is the front of the shoulder. So you have your rotator cuff, which is in the back.
Yeah.
And then you have your labrum, which is in the front.
Oh, like right here?
It's so. Here, let's see if I can send you a picture real quick. So if you look up your shoulder. Dun-dun-dun. All right, so see if I can. I don't know how can I send this to you.
Is there a way to screen share?
I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if I can screen share. How can I? In call settings, tools, chat tools, people, info.
Let's do this later when we have more time.
I'll just send it to you. So the labrum is it's in the front of the shoulder.
Okay, I think I know what you mean. What was your rehab like, and how long did it take?
My rehab was it's long, and it's it's almost it's frustrating too, because usually, as human beings, when you don't have surgery, you can lift and you can raise your arms, you can go like this, right? Mm-hmm. If I wanted to pick up a cup, like I could pick up a cup, right? A cup of coffee.
Yeah.
When you have surgery, can't do that. You won't have the strength. So you have to rebuild. You have to rebuild everything back up again. So, I'm talking about like just being able to hold your arm up. Mm-hmm. It hurts, and it's not as like even putting down a window, like trying to close a window. It took me months to finally be able to close a window. Like that's how much it's crazy. It's nuts. So just when you go through surgery like that, and you're in a sling for a week, and you're having to sleep sitting straight up. You can't lay down. You have to make sure that your arm is in a certain position. Sleeping was the hardest. Oh my gosh, sleeping was the hardest. But you find a nice little cozy spot on the couch, and you kind of figure it out. And it's just it's tough. It builds your mental strength. It really does, because you have to then figure out new ways to go about life, like even eating and drinking water and doing daily chores. You got to do it now with your other arm. And you don't have the other arm, and you got to figure out, how to do everything again. And then just making sure that you stay in tune with your physical therapy, making sure that you're aware of the ins and outs of how to go about your physical therapy, because you can't overdo it either. Because if you overdo it, then you're putting more stress on your shoulder on a brand new, repaired shoulder, and then there's risk of re-tearing it again if you overdo it. So it's finding that balance, and everybody's balance is different. Some guys can do a little more, some guys can do a little bit less, and it's just finding out who you are and how much you can handle.
Thing is, like, you can't do like too little, but you can't do too much either.
I know. So it's figuring out that balance.
Are there more injuries now than before? If so, why?
I think so. I think there's more injuries now, especially in baseball, because everyone's chasing velocity. Everybody's chasing numbers. So you have these teams. So like back when I played,
Yeah.
there wasn't many guys that threw 100. Like even before my big league time, before my time in the big leagues, there was one guy that everybody knew, and his name was Joel Zamaya. He pitched for Detroit, and he was the flamethrower, right? And then before him, you had like Nolan Ryan. You had like select guys that everyone knew. Oh, he throws hard, right? Like, okay, he can get it up to the high 90s, into the hundreds, right? So there wasn't many guys. I was one of them. I was a guy that threw that I got it up to 100. And then the more the time went on, you started seeing a lot more guys. Then every team had somebody that was throwing 100, and then all of a sudden now every team has two guys that are throwing 100. And it's just like the amount of guys that are really chucking the ball has exploded. Well, so have injuries, right? Because everyone's trying to now throw at max effort, as opposed to the old school mindset of, hey, let's control the zone, let's command the zone, and yeah, we can throw hard every now and then, but we're gonna stay within ourselves. What's his name? Justin Verlander is a perfect example. Verlander was a flamethrower back when he was young, and he was one of those guys that threw hard and that would throw harder as the game went on, right? When he started his game, he'd be like 92, 96, 92, 96, and then all of a sudden, in the seventh inning, he's like 98, 99, 100, 101, 101. You're like, what in the world? How are you throwing harder, as the game progresses? And I think it's just because the mentality and the mindset and how the body really lets go and relaxes. That's the secret to throwing hard. You got to throw hard without trying to throw hard. But if you're going in there max effort and you're tensing up, now all of a sudden you're putting so much more pressure on your joints and on your muscles and your ligaments, and we need to be loose, relaxed, and whippy.
Hasn't Verlander more like matured in that way? Hasn't he decided to pitch like more in the zone over velocity over time?
Oh yeah, because he understands it, and especially now that he's older, obviously the shoulder's not going to be the same, so he has to be more deceptive, and he has to really tunnel his pitches better, as opposed to back when he was younger, where he would just be like, here, try to hit it, here, try to hit it.
Yeah. What can athletes do to prevent injuries?
Understanding themselves. Understanding, can I be a flamethrower? Am I a flamethrower? Am I trying too hard to be a flamethrower? Can I stay within myself in order to be able to then, if I can pitch at 92, 97, then great, right? Mm-hmm. That's a 5 mile an hour difference, right? Can I pitch within this zone? Pitch, not throw, pitch. Or do I want to throw 98, 99, 100 to where, like, now everything's just max effort and I really can't, like, there's no adjustability. Mm-hmm. So I think guys need to understand who they are, what they do well, and take care, and just making sure that their workload is appropriate for how hard they're trying to throw. Like, just making sure. Do you need to get in here? Get in here. Go. What do you need? Okay. Just understanding, the workload is. So do you know what I mean by workload?
Yeah.
It's how much throwing and how much max effort throws you get in before you start to compete, right? Before you start competing in the game. So like guys off seasons, right? You see a lot of injuries coming into spring training, right? Spring training, some guys, there's guys that get hurt early in the season. They get hurt. Why? Well, what were you doing in the off season? Like, how were we building up for the season? Back then, even before my time, guys would show up to spring training to get into shape. Right now, you have to show up to spring training in shape, trying to steal somebody's job. Like you're trying to compete day one, as opposed to back then. Before me, you would show up to spring training to get into shape. Like that's what spring training was meant for. The guys that would just come in and be like, all right, let's get everything going again. We have a month and a half to get ready for season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's just like everyone's ready, right? But it's how did you prepare? How did you prepare your body? What exercises did you do? Are we really paying attention to the kinematic sequence of everything that we're doing? And is our timing right? If our timing's off, right, and then all of a sudden that's going to mess with our mechanics and how we release energy, that's going to be an issue down the road. So understanding yourself, understanding your method of throwing, like what does it look like? Mm-hmm. What does the timing look like? Is my torso, in time and sequenced well with my legs, and is everything like, and especially nowadays with so much technology, like guys have that. They can really dissect every little aspect of their throwing program, of their throwing mechanics, of how they lift, of how they eat, of how they sleep. Like there's gadgets and gizmos for everything now. So it's really, really cool because back then, like everything was barely starting to come out. And then now there's an influx of information, which is good if they know how to use it.
Back then in the 1900s, people were throwing a lot more, right, in a game than they do now. But now there's more injuries.
So back then, right, like even like look at Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan would throw forever, right? He would throw and throw and throw and throw and throw and throw, and it's. But did you know that Nolan Ryan was one of the first pitchers that really introduced the weight room for pitchers?
He's one of
back then, pitchers they would never work out. They would never go into the weight room. Nolan Ryan was like one of the first pioneers to say, "Hey, pitchers, we should probably be in here as well." Would you stop it? Yeah. I might have to move. Mm-hmm. I can't stand these birds. Hold on one second. I'm leaving. Be quiet. I'm going up here. Oh, that's so much quieter. Those birds are loud.
It was a bird?
Yeah, they're birds. They're little parakeets.
So what is the protocol for sports injuries in the U.S. and how does it compare with other countries?
Ooh. Wait, hold on. I wasn't done talking about Nolan Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Because you said, like, how come pitchers back then would throw way more and they wouldn't get hurt? Well, but a lot of it is just like they weren't throwing max effort, right? So it's just like a lot of guys would just throw to pitch to understand, hey, I just need to get these guys out. Not so much, I need to throw it as hard as I possibly can to get them out. Nowadays, everyone's like max effort. Like the Dodgers, I've read an article the other day that the Dodgers, that's what they teach. They teach, hey, we're going to throw everything max effort. And it's just like, like that doesn't work for everybody. So like back then, they were looking at it for longevity. They were looking at, like, even look back then, if you compare statistics, starting pitchers would go at least 6 innings, at least.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just like you're lucky if you can get them through 5 with 100 and something pitches. Back then, they were cruising. So it's just hitting the game has gotten so much harder now because of the amount of information that we have. Hitters have gotten so much better. Pitchers are throwing harder. Yeah, great. But the hitters have adapted so well. Because back then, you used to blow fastballs by guys, and it's just like, okay, your timing's off. Like, I'm going to go ahead and beat you. But now it's almost like 100 doesn't matter anymore, right? Guys can throw 100, and there'd be guys that they still square it up. They're like, okay, cool, sweet. But it's all timing. The timing changes. But going back to injuries, yeah, back then not everybody they weren't throwing max effort. They were throwing to go long in games. So they were like they knew that they couldn't be 100% every single pitch.
Yeah. Um, so what's the protocol for sports injuries in the U.S. and how does it compare with other countries?
So the protocol here in the States, obviously, like they want to analyze it, so they're going to take you for imaging, right? They want to figure out, okay, is it bone spurs, is it bone chips? So they'll take you and do X-rays and they'll do MRIs. Other countries do that as well, but other countries like to hold off on surgery as like a last resort. And I feel like here in the U.S. they push surgery quick because they want to get it done. They want to repair. They want to get you in and out. So especially with teams, it's like they're on a time crunch, right? So it's just like you're on a contract, and every day loss is money lost to them. So they want to fix the problem as soon as possible, and that's why they'll push things to. I mean, they'll push anti-inflammatories, they'll push cortisone shots, they'll push all this stuff that's going to get like a quick Band-Aid on it to see if they can still, use the pitchers or use the hitters. But other countries like in Japan, they're very big into like acupuncture, and they're big into like making sure that we're actually strengthening everything else before you even go see the doctor, right? So they let their medical athletic teams kind of really look at you and say, okay, well let's get this stronger, let's try this, they try like every option before even sending you to a doctor. So it just depends. Like I feel like the United States we're so fast paced and we're so very immediate. So it's just like we need it now. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the biggest differences.
Yeah. Last but not least, are there more injuries in younger players, and what is your best advice to those players?
Stop chasing numbers. Stop chasing velocity. Stop chasing exit velos and trying to do everything so max effort because you see some kid on social media hitting a certain way or throwing a certain way. It doesn't matter. Everybody develops differently. Everyone develops at a different time. There's so many injuries now in youth sports because of that. Because they see like, oh, this kid's throwing 80 already. I got to start throwing 80 again. Or I not again. I need to start throwing 80 now. So it's just like these kids will go out and they'll do anything possible. They'll do weighted balls, and they're chucking weighted balls as heavy as they can, and they're lifting way too much or they're it's frustrating to me because I was never that. We didn't have social media back when I was in high school, right? When I was like we had MySpace. It was just it was like a blog that we would do as kids, but it was never to the extent as it is now, to where videos get shared so quickly and it reaches such a mass group so fast. So information is like so much faster now, and as a kid that doesn't really, how do I say this nicely? A kid that doesn't really fully trust himself and accept who he is will be at the mercy of everybody else because he sees so many other kids doing it a certain way. He's going to want to do it that way now. Everything has to be now. So the amount of pressure that kids put on themselves will be so much more. It's so much. They put so much pressure on themselves, it really is sad because I hate to see kids get hurt, especially when it's pursuing stuff like that. It's just like, oh, my elbow hurts. Okay, well, why does your elbow hurt? Oh, because I was trying to throw it as hard as I possibly can, and I did this weighted ball stuff, and now I'm trying to, get to 75 miles an hour, whatever the case may be. Oh, I'm trying my exit velo, and now all of a sudden my back hurts, my obliques. I strain my oblique. It's just like, well, why are we doing that? Like, everybody develops at different times. You just need to stay consistent, understand who you are, what do you do well, and stick with it. Everything else will follow. Like, it's trusting the process as opposed to chasing results. Like,
Yeah.
it'll come. Like, we can't panic, and we can't start really pushing ourselves too much, because then that's when we get hurt.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part.
Yeah, but it is not good if you're trying to like be somebody else.
Yeah, you
That's
got to be
not
you.
good.
That's the beauty of baseball, because there's 9 positions, right? So not everybody has to be this humongous 6'5" first baseman that drops bombs. Like, there's different aspects of the game that you can fill that role, right? You can be a really good base runner. You'll find a way on a team. You can be a very good contact hitter. You can be a really good bunter. You can be a really and you don't even have to be big. Look at Judge. Look at Altuve. Like, there's so many different variables in this game that you can fill one of those roles. It's just understanding who you are, what do you do well, what do you bring to the table that separates yourself from everybody else. Be different. It's okay to be different. You don't have to mold yourself to fill in this like imaginary player.
So that's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you for your time today.
Absolutely.
So I'll see you at practice tonight.
I might I might be late.
Okay.
Just to let you know. But Coach Andy will be there. Coach Milo will be there. I might send Chandler to help Milo, and then I'm waiting to. What happened? Oh, there we go. I'm waiting to hear back from George to see if. Four. But I might be there late, like towards the end of practice.
Okay, that's fine. So, thanks, Coach.
Absolutely. My daughter wants to say thank you for interviewing me, and she wants to say hi as well.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi.
That's Adrian. He's one of my players on my 11U team.
Yeah, I'm on his team.
On the Harlem team. He's don't tell him, but he's one of the better pitchers. All right, kid. Thank you so much. I appreciate you interviewing me. It was an honor. I love doing stuff like this. So.
Even has some disc.